Yes, just like that. This will be more than enough to assassinate Varka. I'm going to assassinate Varka. I need ideas for assassinating the Grand Master. I went over this with Alice a long while ago. She stands with me, and has even offered several ideas on how I might take him out. Of all her suggestions, this one seemed the most promising. Bring a full cart of Mondstadt's newest dandelion wine all the way here, and then, before Varka's very eyes, tip the entire cart over the cliff. Perhaps the monumental, overwhelming grief will make him collapse, or go drown himself in whatever other wine he can find.
That doesn't sound like it'll work. Wait, no! Don't even think about doing something so horrible.
When writing a novel, the author, naturally, seeks to be as extravagant as possible, especially when writing detective novels. If the opening lacks a striking turn, how is the rest of the plot meant to unfold? Alas, this will be my final attempt at writing detective novels. Oh, I suppose they call them crime novels in Inazuma. In any case, they all tell of crime. There's hardly a meaningful distinction. I also discussed it with Barbie, but our novel writing sessions always evolve into crime planning sessions. Methods of crime and puzzles of deduction. We have explored plenty of those, yet the plot would not advance. The Angel Killer case. Try as they might, the culprit remained elusive. The desperate detective rushed into the crowd, then shouted the revered names of the 4 great rulers at the sky. Whoosh! Pitter-patter. Boom! Detective and murderer reduced to ash.
What kind of writing is that? Doesn't that leave no room for deduction at all?
Of course there is. It was only through painstaking deduction that the detective finally discovered the names of the 4 great rulers, learning also that shouting them at the sky would inevitably reduce one to ash. My point exactly. Simply deducing who the culprit is has become dreadfully unoriginal. The subject of one's deductions must be something more creative. I even thought of having a Seelie detective, an angel who, longing to become a detective, became a Seelie, and by some twist of fate, ended up as a detective's assistant. All Seelies love to guide people, so this one went about leading the detective from case to case. I found the idea rather interesting. Come to think of it, the Seelie detective and the Angel Killer case seem far more interesting than assassinating the Grand Master. Never mind, guess I'll move on to work on that idea then. It's precisely because I overthink every little detail that I've lost interest in continuing. Not to mention the mountain of words I'll have to write. The very thought of penning all those words. Oh, what a hassle. And I can't even get a ghostwriter for this one. I'll just work on the Angel Killer case instead. But how might the detective deduce the truth? Perhaps he could have a conveniently informative dream. Seelie detective. Hold on. Why not have the Seelie guide that detective to assassinate the Grand Master instead?
Thunder!